Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K. Ristina. No Christmas miracle here. Please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. Well, I didn't get my Christmas miracle. I didn't even come close. Hell, I didn't even break 150. Although, except I got like one extra or something, but someone always unsubscribes and resubscribes. Maybe 200 for New Year's. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for trying to help me. If you have a social channel of any kind, spread the word, because I just don't have those capabilities. I'm just not capable of it. So, what was it? Oh, yeah. So, we're going through my comfort series. We're working our way to PLUM 3030. We're working our way to this book. And I was talking about these the other day when I did the unveil, and we will talk about it again when I do the book. But because of this book, found them. So we will be talking about these. I have a couple. You can send away for them. But we'll talk about these when we get to 3030. But so we're doing my comfort series. We're doing 30 Days of Janet, and we're doing Hardcore 24 today. Lorelei King does the audiobooks. I highly recommend them. We've got a visitor from another series. PLUM, Lovin'. I don't read these. I read them once when I bought them, but I don't care for them that much. I won't be doing a reread anytime soon. I just picked up 2. There's others over there, but I just grabbed the 2 off the shelf. And PLUM Lucky, PLUM Lovin'. There's a few others. They're up there. So anyways, today we are talking Hardcore 24. And we get to see Simon Diggory again. He's a grave digging pal. We've seen him a few times. He's a favorite. And so we're talking to Simon Diggory, and I have to, before I back up here, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, getting a little into it. Stephanie is our bounty hunter. Lulu is her partner. Connie is the office manager. Vinny is the boss. We don't see too much of him here. Grandma Mizura is our comedy relief. Her mother is in the book. We see her father just a little bit. All right, so we have our 2 love interests, Joe Morelli and Ranger. Morelli is a Trenton cop, and Ranger is Special Forces, and he owns a security business. And we will talk about him in a little bit. So, you're all looking cute today. So she's doing her cute thing, but you can't see it. So anyways, so they go to get Diggory, and Diggory's like, I can't leave because of Ethel. Ethel is his pet snake. So she says, look, I'll look after you. I'll take you to court, and then while you're in the court thing, I will take care of Ethel. So they do that. Then she goes to Joe, but they must have had dinner or something. I forget. But I don't know why I'm Yo, Morelli said on the first ring. I have a problem. Me too. Morelli said, I'm thinking about you naked and you aren't there. You know Simon Diggory's snake, right? Ethel. She sort of escaped. Simon's in lockup, and I think Ethel is slithering around the neighborhood. And she's a 50-foot boa. She might eat things that don't want to get eaten, like cats and dogs and little people. She might even eat big people. I know that neighborhood. Ethel could only improve it. What if Ethel gets out of the neighborhood? Cupcake. She's not going to get out of the neighborhood. Someone will spot her and she'll be snakes too. I promised Simon I would take care of her. I heard Morelli blow out a sigh, and I knew he was staring down at his shoe, probably thinking he could have any woman he wanted and wondering why he wanted me. I often wondered the same thing. Come here. Come here. Here's the mush. Here's the mush. There she is. There's the golden child. Oh, she's a mush. So, anyways, where was I? So, they get to the trailer, there's no Ethel. Morelli, they go to Morelli's, they go to the office, she goes to the office, Connie tells her she has two new FTAs, Edward Coote and Zira. Then they check on Ethel, she's not there yet. They go for Zero Slick, they talk to his parents. His father thinks he's the loser, his mother thinks he's gold. She calls Morelli, he tells her to drive around and look for protesting. Zero Slick is known for hiring himself out to be a body in a group of protesters. So they do that. She runs into Edward Kuntz and they get him. Then she goes to parents for lunch, and Grandma tells there's been a lot of bodies that have had their heads removed from the morgue, from the mortuary. Body was their take stolen right out of the morgue. You think they'd have better security than that? Oh. So, what's going on there, dearie? Let me see if I can find my thing. I can't find my thing. Hold on. So, let me get this straight, I said to Grandma. Someone severed two heads at Steve's, and the heads haven't been found. Yep, Grandma said. Pass the pickles to me. How could that happen? I guess it happened at night, Grandma said. They came in first thing in the morning to do the embalming and pulled out the trays and no heads. Wasn't everything locked up? Doesn't Stiva have security system? Didn't an alarm go off? Yes, and no, Grandma said. People are thinking it must be an inside job. But I got another theory. I think it was the zombies. There's rumors going around that there's been zombie sightings, and you know how they like to eat brains. Well, you put two and two together and it makes sense. My mother very carefully spread mustard across a slice of bread and precisely placed olive oil and Swiss cheese onto the mustard. I suspect she was making an effort to stay calm when she really wanted to do was shake Grandma until her false teeth flew out of her mouth and stopped rambling about zombies. Grandma forked up some macaroni and I spotted a ring on her finger. Is that a new ring? I asked her. It's a friendship ring, Grandma said. I got a boyfriend. He's a pip. He gave me... My mother gave up a sigh and cut her sandwich in half. Do I know him? I asked. I met him on one of those internet sites, Grandma said. He lives in Florida, Key West. I might go down there to visit him. He's a real hottie. I sneaked a look at my mom, and she wasn't making eye contact. She was staring at her sandwich. Why does he do that? What does he do? I asked Grandma. He mostly fishes. He's a dock worker in New York, but he's retired now. His wife died a while back. He has kids, but they're in Jersey. I have to be careful about internet connections, I said. You never really know who you're talking to. He could be a serial killer. My mother said he could be a terrorist. He could be some pervert sex fiend. It might be too old to be a sex fiend, Grandma said, but I guess he could be a killer. Why me? My mother asked. Don't send him any money, I said to Grandma, and don't go to Florida. He could be the one, Grandma said, pulling up a photo on her phone. handing the phone over to me. "This is George Hamilton," I said. Grandma took the phone and studied the photo. "He does look a little like George Hamilton, but my honey's name is Roger Murph. Him and George are handsome devils, aren't they?" From the corner of my eye, I saw my mom shaking her head and making the sign of the cross. Next stop would be a trip to the liquor cabinet over the sink. "Did you send him a picture of you?" I asked Grandma. "Sort of. I didn't have a real good picture, so I sent him one of your mother." If you were dating somebody or catfishing somebody and you met somebody online, would you send them a picture of your mother? And in this case, she's sending them a picture of her daughter, who's married. Is that a double standard for you? So like I mentioned previously, if you've read these two puppies, and there's a couple more there, I didn't get them all, I just grabbed these two. You'll know Deisel. And Deisel comes to visit in this book. And like I've said before, you know, after 24 books, you should know that I cannot do these books without sharing. And I'm thinking about doing a video. I saw this lady did a video about her doing videos, and I was thinking about doing it too. And like, I have read, what did I say? 259 original books, 60 J.D. Robbs, 30 Janet, 10 or 15 J.A. Jantz, Victoria Thompson. There was in the counterfeit series we did. We're going to get to the other one next year. We've read all of Laurel Kay's. I've done like 500 books this year. I can't tell you how many books I've done, and I got so carried away with it. I was like, forget it. It was just too overwhelming to see how many books I've done. So I may end up doing that. But Sweet Cakes, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Nothing much has changed since then. He visited a bunch of times since that Christmas, mysteriously coming and going. He doesn't have a key to my apartment, but that never stops him from getting in. "Surprise," Deisel said. "Now what?" I asked. "Just passing through and thought I'd say hello." He took a grocery bag from me, set it on the counter, and emptied it. "There are these things called vegetables," he said. You ever hear about them? If I want vegetables, I eat at my parents' house, and I have baby carrots in the fridge. Therefore, your rat. He's a hamster." Deisel opened a box of Frosted Flakes and took a handful. "You never just stop in to say hello. I haven't seen or heard from you in over a year. What's up?" "There's a disturbance in the force. Thought I'd check it out." And that's something Muna would say. If you've read through the books with me, a disturbance in the force, that is definitely something that Muna would say. That's a little vague. Deisel shrugged. "It's what I do, sweetie pie." "Right. You weren't planning on doing it here, were you? Like in my apartment?" "I'd rather be under a palm tree somewhere else, but yeah, I'm stuck here for a while." "No, you're not staying here." "Sure I am. I always stay here. You'd be heartbroken if I stayed somewhere else." "I'd be overjoyed." "You need to work on your hostess skills," Deisel said. "The whole cranky thing is a major turnoff. Morelli is coming over for dinner tonight. I don't want you here when he walks in." "Honey, that's hard to believe. No one would come here for dinner. You only own one pot." "I own several pots and a fry pan." Deisel grinned. "You're going to have to give him that frozen mac and you were going to give him that frozen mac and cheese, aren't you?" "The mac and cheese is for me. Morelli is bringing dinner." "Okay, I'm in." "You aren't in. There is no in for you. He's bringing dinner and he's spending the night. You need to change that plan. I'm not crazy about sharing a bed with Morelli." And they go on. Then he's planning on staying. Morelli calls, they found some heads. They got to check that out. Ranger comes. They go. Lula and Stephanie go to the Korea. Grandma goes to the protest about the bingo. Some political guy wants to talk and is using the bingo hall to do a talk. And Grandma goes to protest his speech because she'd rather play bingo. And Slick shows up and Grandma calls Stephanie, hey, Slick is here. So her and Lulu go there. And while they're there, someone steals Stephanie's car. The Ranger calls her and says, you're at X place, but your car just took a dive into the Delaware River. So she tells him it was stolen and he comes to pick her up. So then she tells him that Deissel's at the apartment. She calls Morelli. He said the heads have no brains. Ranger gives her a new car. She goes to the office. Connie says one of her network peoples told her that 2 more heads went missing from funeral homes overnight. Connie says on FTA that they were missing for a while. Johnny Chuchi is in town, and he's a high bond, so they want to get him. And then her and Lula go to check on Ethel. Lula says she saw the zombies. Connie calls. Ethel has been spotted a couple of blocks away. Ethel is up a tree. This could be a new profession. This could be a new profession for us, Lula said. We could be snake wranglers. I bet there's good money in it. I think I hear some rustling in the back. Check on Ethel for me. See if she's okay. Now understand this. They answered the call. They went to find the snake. They get the snake. They trank her. They stun gun her. And they put her in the back of her car. Her brand new car from Ranger. So, I think I hear some rustling in the back. Check on Ethel for me, see if she's okay. It's just this bumpy crap-ass road, Lula said. Ethel's sleeping like a baby. Still turn around and make sure. No problem. Yow, she's awake. Lordy, she's coming to get me. She's gonna eat me alive. Don't panic. Take my stun gun and give her another shot. Let me out. Stop the car. In my peripheral vision, I saw a snake head slither over Lula's shoulder. Yeah, Lula shrieked, flailing her arms. Let me out of here. Lula jumped out of the moving car. The snake slid into the floor and over my foot, and I went into freak out. The SUV veered off the road, and I smashed into an outhouse that belonged to one of the yurt people. I found my way free of the inflated airbag, opened my door, stumbled out, and the snake zigzagged over me and disappeared into the woods. I lay there for a full minute, struggling to breathe, before Lula gave me a hand up and pulled me to my feet. This stinks, Lula said. I know, the snake got away. No, I mean, it really stinks. You trashed an outhouse. And if you go up, there are certain parts of my state that I currently live in, and actually probably my previous state too, in certain places, that outhouses still exist. Check out Outlander if you want to know what it is. The entire front end of the Mercedes was bashed in, and the SUV was resting on the outhouse remains. Both the outhouse and the SUV were leaking. I rescued my messenger bag from the car and called Ranger. Now, you know, if this had been blue, and if you remember, we used to call them yachts on wheels. We had cars, that had 20 feet in front of him and 20 feet in the back, and you were protected. Cars nowadays have no protection like this much bumper. I miss the 20-foot bumpers. I miss them like crazy. What? What's up? It wasn't my fault, I said. There was a snake in the car. Babe, you've had the car for less than 2 hours. Lula was backing away, holding her nose and fanning the air. If you're sending one to take care of this, you'll want to send him in a hazmat suit, I said to Ranger. I sort of ran over an outhouse. There was silence on the other end. Hello? Are you still there? Do I hear you laughing? You never disappoint, Ranger said. An hour later, Lula was loaded into a Rangeman SUV and shuttled off to the office. The Mercedes was wrenched out onto a flatbed tow truck, and Ranger and I were in the Cayenne watching Ethel follow the newly laid out trail of hot dogs that led into Diggory's Double Wide. When all of Ethel was inside, I ran to the door, told her I'd be back with pizza, and locked her in. Finally, I said to Ranger, success. I was thinking about the same thing. You owe me a night. Maybe not. The car might not be total. Babe, you owe an outhouse. I don't suppose you want to give me another chance, Ranger smiled. Double or nothing. Deal. Where is... She's a trip. So Ranger gives her a new car, a Lexus. She goes back to the office. Her and Lula go look for Slick. Morelli is at church. A homeless man was found next to the dumpster, and he was missing his head. Like someone removed his brains. If I could sit here and read the whole book to you, I would. Are you okay? Morelli asked. No, I'm not okay. That's horrible. At least they left the head this time. Makes my job easier. Do you have any leads on this? Not a one, Morelli said. Lula thinks it's zombies. Okay, so now I have one lead. Does she have an address for the zombies? They originally came from the cemetery on Morley Street, but I'm not sure where they're hanging out now. Well, that's a start. I'll check out Morley Street. I grimaced and looked at him. You're kidding, right? Yes, I'm kidding. There's some nutjob out there collecting cadaver brains. So I'm safe as long as I'm not dead. Looks that way. I guess that's comforting. Not to me. The department is working overtime to keep this out of the press, and the mayor is on everyone's ass to find the idiot who's doing it. His expression softened and gently touched my cheek with his fingertip. Your eye looks awful. Zero Slick hit me with a protest sign. He's an asshole. Do you want me to bring him in and charge him? No, I'll take care of him. You have your own problems. Cupcake, you're my problem. I don't want to be your problem. I want to be your sex goddess. That got a smile out of Morelli. You're all that and more. I gave him a small kiss and smile. Gotta go. Probably won't see you tonight. Not likely. Okie dokie then. I said, relieved that I didn't have to address the Deisel issue. I think he's blocking it. Okay. So they go looking for Johnny Chuchi. His wife has her entire front yard is gnomes. She's emotionally attached to these gnomes. It's just, you have to just read it. So then they go talk to Grandma about Judy Chuchi, and Grandma says, my honey just took a part-time job as a greeter, Grandma said. He's working in one of those bars in Key West. You got a honey, Lula asked. I met him on one of those internet sites, Grandma said. He's a real looker. You got to be careful of those internet hookups, Lula said. Grandma pulled the picture up on her phone and showed Lula. That's George Hamilton, Lula said. Yeah, there's a good resemblance, Grandma said. I'm guessing he's a little younger than me, but I think I can keep up. What's a greeter do for a bar? Lula asked. It sounds to me like he holds up a sign outside saying that they got cheap drinks and live dancers inside, Grandma said. He works days, so I'm thinking it will help him keep that deep tan he's got. There she is, Miss America. I just show you. Um, Deisel grinned down at me. I like a hungry woman makes life easy. I don't have to work hard to satisfy her. Are we talking about food? Yeah, that too. He motioned to 2 bags on the counter. I got Chinese. Not especially authentic, but should be okay. I pulled out the cartons out of the bag, kung pao chicken, fried rice, steamed dumplings, and some kind of glutinous vegetable mix. This is great, I said. Thank you. The smile was still in place. How grateful are you? Grateful enough to let you stay one more night. Deisel got a couple of forks out of the silverware drawer and handed one to me. That's a start. We dumped the food onto a common plate and dug in. How's the force feeling today? I asked. It's not good. What does that mean? It means I got a cramp in my ass that won't go away. That usually means your cousin Wolf is in town. I haven't seen him, but it's possible. I'm going to assume he's not the source of the ass cramp. Not at this time. Deisel got a beer out of the fridge. I guess that could change. It wouldn't be zombies, would it? Not likely. Personally, I think they get a bad rap. I hear they like brains. That's the rumor. He looked down at the plate. Are you going to eat that last dumpling? No, I'm full. My phone buzzed with a text message from Mom. Your grandmother needs a ride to a viewing, and I'm holding you responsible if she shoots someone, gets arrested, or tries to take a selfie. So she takes Grandma to the viewing. So she picks up Grandma. She tells Stephanie a couple of her lady friends have seen Johnny. She checks in with Morelli. She goes to Dunkin' Donuts. She goes to the office. Connie makes some more phone calls, finds out there's been another dead body found without a head. They check on Ethel, and Morelli's there. It's a crime scene. They found some more bodies. They follow Marie Karowski. She is Zero Slick's mom. She takes him lunch and supplies to a cemetery grave. He's hanging out there. Stephanie feels so bad for him, she lets him stay. They go and get food for Ethel. They chase after Johnny Sheik. They interact with the zombies. She goes to the office. Morelli's busy with CSI. She's got 2 more she's still looking for her FTIs, Chuchi and Slick. They go to pick him up at his grave, and he's missing. All his stuff is on the ground, but Slick himself is missing, so Stephanie calls Morelli to investigate. They find some drugs. They find some paraphernalia. They find a camera with film on it. Ranger calls and wants to know why her car is at the impound lot and she's at the cemetery, because he has her car bugged and he has her purse bugged and he has her person bugged just in case, because Ranger is concerned about Stephanie and always worried about her and prepared, unlike Joe. and we'll get to that. Her car was impounded because the zombies got in contact with it, and they wanted to get the trace evidence off the zombie. They go to see Judy Chushi, and they check inside her house, and she's an absolute hoarder. Morelli calls with updates. They go to Judy Chuchi's house. They tell her, we're going to stake out your house at night to see if your husband comes by. Connie gets pictures of Grandma's real boyfriend, and he's married, and he's in Florida, and they're swingers. That's their seniors club, is a swingers club. So they get to check on Grandma, and Stephanie was going to show her the pictures, but Grandma said she had a date with somebody else. So Stephanie decided not to show her the pictures of the guy and his real wife. They check on Ethel. They go stake out Judy's house. Johnny comes by as expected. One thing leads to another. Johnny shoots himself in the foot. Stephanie takes him to the hospital. And they feel sorry for him. So she does not take him to the police station after the hospital. She always gets a soft spot. So she's had taken the guy to the hospital and stuff. About your call, Lula said, you know how it's such a nice sunny day. Oh, I forgot. While they were doing their rounds and going out to the Diggory's place, they found a dead raccoon on the side of the road. So they get gloves out of the first aid kit in Ranger's car and a blanket, and they wrap it up in a blanket because it's dead, and they're going to take it to Ethel to feed Ethel because Ethel likes roadkill the best. So they get the dead animal and they put him in the car, but then all this stuff with Johnny happened, and she was with them at the hospital. So Lula, about your car, Lula said, you know how it's such a nice sunny day? Yeah. And you know how exceptionally warm it got? Yeah. And you know how a locked up car can get overly hot inside when it's parked in the sun? Well, your car got parked in the sun and the groundhog exploded. What? Exploded. At least that's what we think happened. Hard to tell from what's left. Looked to Connie and me that you don't leave a dead groundhog in a hot car. Who would have thought? Is it bad? It isn't good. There's putrefied groundhog guts and gravy all over the place. I wouldn't want to be the one to detail it. Lula eased to the curb behind my car, staying a good distance away. I need to park back here so I don't contaminate my baby with groundhog stink, she says. There are turkey vultures sitting on it. Yeah, we keep shooting them, but they keep coming back and pecking at the roof. I imagine you might have a few dents up there. We got out of the Firebird and stood looking at the vultures. You want me to shoot them, Lula asked. No, I crept closer and looked inside. Oh my God, I said, clamping a hand over my mouth, holding my breath. It's like you exploded that sucker in a microwave, right? It's like when you forget to stop to put the top on the blender. It's like projectile vomit from being possessed. I bit my lower lip to keep from whimpering. Do you think it's totaled? Not in the traditional sense of being flattened by a garbage truck or being run off a bridge into the Delaware, but in the sense that no one is going to want to drive it. Hell yeah. The garbage truck thing was funny as all hell a few books back. I closed my eyes and tried to calm myself. I destroyed yet another of Ranger's cars, and there was a bet running on this. Double or nothing. I was in a relationship with Morelli, and I owed Ranger 2 nights. What was I thinking? I called Ranger, and he answered with the usual, babe. Bad news, I said. It's about your Lexus. One of my patrol cars drove by an hour ago and said it was being circled by vultures. There was an unfortunate accident with a dead groundhog. I didn't see that one coming, Ranger said. How bad is it? There are vultures circling. How bad do you think it is? Silence. You're laughing again, aren't you? I asked him. Do I need to send someone in a hazmat suit? Yes. Do you need another car? I'm running a tab. No, I don't need another car. I'm going to get Big Blue. Big Blue is the Buick. And like I was talking about before with the boats in the 70s, I had a Malibu Chevy. It has 20 feet in the front and 20 feet in the back, and you ain't getting hurt with fender benders. You just safe as all hell. They just don't make them like they used to. So Deisel shows up, and they go to check on Ethel, and they look around in the woods around his house, and they find a tunnel. And I like this little conversation between Deisel and Stephanie, because you have to think about it. I mean, there's 24 books. It's been a few years now, and nobody is looking towards commitment, and I don't think they ever will. I think Janet's going to have to come out with a third or fourth guy or somebody who's not already known for Stephanie. What's the deal with you and Morelli? Deisel asked. You've been seeing him on and off for how long? 30 years? Not 30. Does it seem like 30? Is this going somewhere? I asked him. Just curious. What's the longest relationship you've ever had? 48 hours, Deisel said. I thought it would never end. Seriously, a pitcher of beer was delivered and we both chugged some down. Define relationship, Deisel said. Does it involve cohabitation? Is it sexual? Is it love? Do you share a bathroom? Pick any two of the four things. Then you're probably one of my longest relationships off and on. Is your mother upset about this? My mother is a strange woman. No doubt. You know, I've mentioned this before, but Morelli is never there when she needs him, but Ranger is. But Morelli is there for sex, but he's not there when she needs saving. When she was being thrown off a bridge, it was Ranger that saved her. So this Grandma decides to leave and go to Florida after her honey because the guy that she had hooked up with, it didn't pan out. And so Stephanie has to jump on a plane and go to rescue her grandmother. Stephanie gets threatened at her apartment, so she decides to stay at Rangeman. And speaking with this conversation, I found this interesting, and I found it heartwarming, because I really think if Stephanie, for years I was thinking Joe, but now I'm thinking more Ranger, because he is there. When she needs him, Ranger is there. Joe isn't. He's always got cop stuff. They're always being interrupted by cop stuff. It was a little after 6 when I heard Ranger roll in. There was a clink of keys in the silver tray and soft footsteps in the hall. He smiled when he saw me in the chair with my computer. It's nice to find you here when I come home, he said. I'd forgotten what it was like. Are you telling me you're lonely? No, just that I enjoy this once in a while. I nodded, me too. I have something to show you, and they start talking about business. But I thought that was interesting. I really thought that was interesting. So you'll have to check out the book. What did I do with the... What did I do with it? Oh. There we go. To find out who's killing all these people and why they're taking their brains, and what happens with Joe Morelli, Deisel, what happens, how they solve the case. Check it out, and we'll be moving on to Looking Alive 25.